Oh,
You were
I
out
missed
of
it.
town,
I was
and
in
he
Vegas.
was just awesome. He had a friend with him, Life. Life. He was off the chain, and we didn't get to hear from you, so we will get to hear from you this time. But these guys, they have a commitment to young people and talk about entrepreneurship and living their dream. So this is Mr. David Shands. He's an inspiration to anyone with an idea to create what doesn't yet exist. From an employee to employer, David worked in various customer-oriented industries, all while building his own apparel business. He coined the phrase, "Sleep is for suckers," starting out with wristbands and a cool story later evolving into a clothing line and a way of life. And with entrepreneurship being his overarching area of expertise, he works to inspire and uplift many with his brand tagline, "If you lose sleep doing what you love, you will eventually live the dream that you only would have dreamt." So welcome, Mr. David Shands.
Happy to be here. So am I here?
Glad that you're here. So you got a new book since you came back the second time around.
Yes,
huh?
it's brand new. Okay, I released it in 2015, but it's brand new.
Yes.
But when you came here before, we were talking about sleep is for suckers, though.
That's my clothing brand. But the book is how I went from working at the Cheesecake Factory to being a full-time entrepreneur through building the clothing brand Sleep is for Suckers. But the principles in that book are just amazing, and it's helped a lot of people quit their job and really start living off of their dreams. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So who is the gentleman next to you?
Big Ray. Big Ray. I guess you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, because I didn't have your information. So tell us all about you, Big Ray.
I don't think we have enough time.
Well, tell us the clip note version.
So my name is Raymond Keffer. I go by Big Ray, and I like to share my story of my weight loss journey.
Okay.
And so I'm down about 80 pounds. I'm trying to get to 100. It's been a struggle.
Oh, wow.
But what we do, my company, J&K Fresh, we handle imports that come into the country. And my family founded the Keffer Foundation. And so that's kind of how me and David clicked up. And I didn't know exactly what we wanted to do, but I know I wanted to change lives. And so we started speaking at schools, and it was a lot of schools, and I looked at David and I said, man, this is good, but what are we really doing? Why don't we pick one school, partner with it, and let's see how many lives we can change.
Yeah.
And so we partner with Kane Area Center. They're in Culver City. They're a school that basically handles kids with special needs, K through 12.
Oh, fantastic.
And so they basically picked us. They're kids that needed the most. I don't want to label them as problem child because that's what the world does, but they gave us their kids that needed the most help, and we're now in our 4th month working with them.
Oh,
and
wow, that's great.
seeing some, like we had one kid that got kicked out of the program for fighting, like mid-session, mid-training, like just a fight breaks out, and me and Life had to break that fight up. And our rule is, if you fight and get sent to the principal's office, you're out of the program. And so since 2 months later, this kid has changed his ways completely, became captain of the football team, and was literally begging for us to let him back in the program, literally in the hallway crying with his teacher.
Wow.
And so we couldn't say no to that. So seeing that type of transformation in the short time that we've been there,
Yes.
it's purely phenomenal.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes.
I just love what you guys are doing with these different types of individuals, the younger folks, because we talk about this on this show over and over, that when we were growing up, we didn't have that, the guidance, the mentoring, and all those types of things to help us in entrepreneurship or through life. And this is what we're giving back right now. Like what you guys are doing is phenomenal. Love that.
And I know for me, out of all the work that I do, the work that is the most fulfilling for me is when I work with kids. And you're absolutely right. You see a transformation that you don't necessarily see when you're working with adults, and also just the gratitude. I've had letters years later from young kids that have been in any one of the Girl Scouts or when I was a ski instructor, and I actually got a letter recently from a young lady who came to us because her mom was having some problems with her. And so she came into the program. We had to work with her, and then she was in her 20s, and she had a child, and she was trying to go to school. And she wrote to me and said, I should have listened to you guys. You guys were just trying to direct me, and this is the hardest thing I've ever done, have a baby and try to go to school at the same time, but I am determined I'm going to make something out of my life. So thank you so much for committing your time, because, you know, it's a selfish thing, because not everybody step up to want to work with children. Right? So all of us here that do that, even sometimes their parents don't want to work with them. Yeah. And so, and I don't have any children, so it's always something that I felt that one of the purposes I was put on this planet to do. So I take my hat off to you guys as well, and to Tanya, because that's some good stuff. Yeah. Because, you know, one day these will be CEOs and presidents and senators, and you had something to do with that.
Absolutely. So how did you and David come together? How did that happen?
So last year I went to a conference that was put on by Eric Thomas. Yes. And I went purely to hear Inky Johnson. His story really transformed and changed my life. Right. And I saw David on stage speaking, and I was drawn to his words, and he just happened to answer a DM, and I joined his coaching program, and he's really impacted my life tremendously, and I've become a better person since I've been clicking up with David. That's great. And just seeing the fact that, you know, a little over a year ago, seeing him on stage, and now we're rocking together. It's it's crazy.
Now you guys are a team.
Absolutely.
And what's the foundation that your family?
The Keffer Foundation.
Okay, and what does?
So we just really believe in changing the world one life at a time. Simple as that. And so didn't really know what we were going to do. And I know I wanted to do something with the youth. And I tried doing different things. I was like, well, let's do a football camp in the inner city, Inglewood somewhere. And I was like, hey, we'll fund it. Nobody wanted to run it. I was like, well, then let's do a conference. Nobody wanted to run it. And then just connecting with David, it just kind of fell into place. And I had an idea. David had some ideas. So I'm really more on the mental health side. David's on the entrepreneur side. But it's really amazing to see the two.
Because the principles are the same. Yeah. So just to you guys know, I hooked up with David too. David and I worked together. Yeah. And we met kind of the same way. I saw him on stage at a conference. Yeah. And I resonated with his words. His words resonated with me. I gave him a call. I've been on this coaching call now for how long? It's about 8-9 months now.
But you saw me on stage too. You never hooked up with me, so what's going on?
But see, hilarious. Yes, I did. I'm on the show. We hooked up. I'm on the show. But I have to tell you, the guy is absolutely amazing. He has a coaching call that I think, please don't raise the price after I say this, is worth so much more. Listen, he has a call almost every night of the week. For when I found out that could be on, first I thought it was only on Sunday nights, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then now 8 o'clock on Mondays. Yeah. Man, and the information is absolutely awesome. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. So I've been trying to do some things for a long time. Some things I had in my heart. Yeah. Hooked up with this guy, and he holds you accountable to some stuff.
Which is good.
And November, you guys watch out. I might get a husband, and my program's going to launch. I really don't want a husband. I don't even want a boyfriend.
So, David, you're going to be that husband, right?
No, he's already married. He just got married. That was a conversation when we came back from it.
No, so, I'm just saying. But he's awesome. He's awesome. His coaching call is phenomenal.
So who was your mentor when you were a kid? Because there had to be one that
my dad was my mentor when I was a kid. I didn't really know what a mentor was. It was just my dad would give me good information. Yeah. When I turned 17, I met a man by the name of Jonathan Green, who introduced me to reading books and wearing a suit and wearing a tie. Yeah. And just thinking differently, because it was actually a network marketing company called Prepaid Legal. It's now called Legal Shield.
Yeah, I'm a rep. Were you? What?
Yeah. Oh man, like the 10 core commitments would read 10 pages of a good book a day, expose a certain amount of people, and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've sold everything. I mean.
I saw a video earlier when you were telling the kids about the rake and the leaves falling off, the money coming down off the tree.
Oh, for sure. Money grows on trees. For sure.
I think you should tell that story again to the audience who never heard it before.
Oh, absolutely. So I remember raking my lawn. So my dad it was really slavery because I had to work a whole bunch around the house, and he'd pay me in food.
You were
slavery.
You were an indentured slave.
Absolutely. Michelle, so I'm raking the leaves, and I personally didn't know why my dad didn't want the leaves on the ground because I like the colors. I'm like, yo, you can play football in these leaves. But I looked across the street, and the lady had the leaves on the lawn. Yeah. So I just had this brilliant idea, go knock on the door, and I asked the lady, I said, hey, first off, I admire your lawn. Okay, there's so many pretty colors. But do you like the fact that there's leaves on your lawn? If not, I could take them off for you. And she said, yeah, well, how much? And at that point, I didn't get that far. I didn't know what to say. So I was like, I think at that point, my dad was giving me $10 allowance. So I was like, $10. She said, do the front and back. I give you $20. I said, what? Say no. I got to work all week. I got to work 2 weeks for $20. I said, okay, no problem. So I actually rake up the leaves. And this part of the story I kind of add in. But rake up the leaves, and, there's piles of leaves on the lawn. Yeah. And I knock on the door. I said, ma'am, it's ready. It's done. I'll take my $20 now. And she looks and said, it's good, but you got piles of leaves everywhere. Are you going to put them in bags? I'm like, well, I don't really have any bags. And I said, do you have some? She said, no, I'm paying you. I said, okay, give me a minute. So go back home, say, Dad, we need some trash bags. She said, I don't have any. I said, Dad, give me some money to go to the store so I can get some bags. He said, you need to get a job. I said, Dad, I'm trying.
That's what we're doing, Dad.
Right, that's what we're doing here. So I could have just quit. I could have walked away, but I go back across the street, knock on the door, and I say, ma'am, I'm going to need a deposit. Yeah. Okay, this is customary. Everybody does it. I'm like, listen, all my clients, they give me a deposit up front. It's $10, okay? And she said, how many clients you got? I'm like, well, a whole bunch. Okay, just a bunch. So I take the $10, go to the store, get the trash bags, and now I'm in business.
That's amazing.
But my next goal is, I can pick up these clients. I got, 4 or 5 clients, and I say I want to expand. My next goal is to get another rake. Yeah. Not so that, I have a backup, but I can give one to my friend. Yeah. And if somebody's going to give me $20, I can give my friend $15. They're not doing nothing after school. Like, yo, rake that lady's lawn, put it in bags, I give you $15.
So you're bringing in an independent consultant.
Oh, absolutely. Wow. And that's how I teach kids entrepreneurship in a way that they can really, really understand it. Real elementary principles.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now let me ask this of you, because you guys have been working with kids. So this summer, when when the kids were deciding what business they were going to be in, because they had to create a concept for me, and so I told them, recognizing whatever pain points that were in their world, in their school or at home or in their community, and come up with a business based upon that. So we had 25 kids in a room from the ages of 11 to 18. And of that 25, 10 of them came up with businesses for stress relief. Mm. And when I saw that, I went, what are you guys stressed about?
It's a common theme.
Right. And so... And I was telling him, I said, when I was your age, which was a long time ago, and I put down whatever, if I was stressed, it would have been homework, and that was probably it, because we had set bedtimes and so forth. They had literally, I filled up 2 boards with stuff that stresses them out. Wow. And so their businesses were related. So the 3 kids, 2 of the kids won based upon that. So one of them, she was creating a business, an app, where you could reach out to a referral for a psychologist or a social worker who could help you if you were feeling suicidal. She was 14.
How old are these kids?
She was 14.
Ooh.
Just off the chain. And she delivered hers like a pro. Wow. So she actually won. And then an 11-year-old, he had a aromatherapy pen. So when you were taking tests and you were stressed out, you push a button and a sense of lavender would come out to help relieve you.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? And then my 15-year-old, she won second prize, and hers was a financial literacy app that also taught you how to understand the stock market.
So, I'm telling you, man, these kids, they're on a different level than we were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we were never thinking like this.
Yeah, I don't think there were many programs teaching entrepreneurship, though. No. There weren't people like us teaching entrepreneurship back in the day. And I'm glad that entrepreneurship is now a trend, because one of my friends, he lives up in Pennsylvania. He's administrator for a school. He said it's going to be mandatory. They're trying to push something where it's mandatory for kids to take entrepreneurship classes in 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 8th grade.
And they should.
That's great.
So it wasn't like to be able to come up with these type of ideas. I think they're just living in the right time right now, where entrepreneurship is just the theme. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's like almost not cool to have a job.
Right, exactly.
Well, the thing about it is about entrepreneurship. When we were growing up, we thought that we could get rich by working for someone. That's a myth. Doesn't happen. So as we grow, we realize that, hey, the only way to get close to richness is to be our own boss, be our own entrepreneur. And that's why more and more people are getting into that. Plus, a lot of people who try to get employment right now, they get discriminated against. So they say, hey, why am I going to work for this person to get them rich when I can start my own thing?
Right.
And most of the times when we start our thing is because we see a niche in the market.
Yeah.
We are a disruptor. So that's how the pendulum starts shifting to this side right now, which is amazing.
I think the internet has a lot to do with it too, because back in the day, in your neighborhood, what you saw in your neighborhood, that's all you're exposed to.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody having a nice Cadillac and a nice house, it came from a job. So I need to get the job so I can have that Cadillac and that car. But now the internet shows people living this wildly successful
Especially
life.
on YouTube, and deriving their income from revenues. They're not doing anything but silly stuff on the internet. Also, now in Atlanta, you guys have a different framework, because there's some stuff that took place, I remember reading, where, because a lot of us, we became educators, so our parents told us to go get jobs in the state, the federal, or whatever, so you'd always have a job.
Office.
But that didn't happen in Atlanta. There was some sort of shift that took place that I read in Atlanta that you guys the black population took control of, and a lot of them were entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah, I think Atlanta's like the black mecca for entrepreneurs.
I hear that, and I really like to check it out.
But it was something that was actually put in place. There was something that was put in place. I think it was in 1960 that spurred that on. That's why there's so many entrepreneurs in Atlanta.
There was a Black Wall Street there. And then so there's a main road, 75, 85, that they built right in, like, to run through the Black Wall Street, and that's what kind of divided it and broke it up. But there was a Black Wall Street where it was an African American area of entrepreneurs that were, building.
But there's a lot of wealth in Atlanta that's probably more so than anywhere else.
We out there.
Yeah, you guys are doing your thing in Atlanta. And then our parents, they wanted you to get those type of jobs. I was blessed because I'm like a third generation entrepreneur. So it was inevitable. That's what I was doing. And I think I started my first business with my mom at 7. But not everybody's that lucky to have it come from those beginnings. Most people are not.
Oh, for sure. That's a blessing.
Well, I think it's absolutely awesome what you guys are doing. You've been here all week, right? You got on Wednesday. How many schools have you gone into so far?
We've been to a bunch, right?
4.
4 schools.
1 2 days, and then Lutzinger yesterday and Los Angeles High School today.
It's every day. It's every day. We've been to schools every day.
Wow.
Every day.
And when you go to these schools, what's the topics, or is it just free flow as you get there to see where the kids are, or?
I'll let you explain it.
David likes me to share he calls it my fat story.
Okay.
So I just I had to figure out, it was like, why do I keep going back to what I do? And so.
And you were awesome today, by the way.
Thank you. And it's one thing to know the what, but if we don't know the why behind the what, we're going to be stuck. And so I had to trace back, like, okay, why do I remember this time where we had this youth program at my house with the kids from church. My wife got the ghetto cheese from Smart and Final to make nachos, like that really good cheese.
The Velveeta.
And I was working out at the time and trying to eat right. My wife had dropped some kids off. I was home by myself, and I went on a frenzy and had like probably 10 servings of like nachos.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I just ruined everything I did this entire week. I fell down the hallway and started crying. Like, why am I just keep on eating this? Like, I can't stop. So I had to go back and I had to trace that. And I hadn't dealt with some stuff from my childhood. Some stuff where my brother had like literally abused me. And I shared with the kids. I was like 4 years old. My brother had handcuffed me to his bed, turned the lights off, told me my parents were dead.
Oh, my
And if I made any noise, I would die as well.
Wow.
So, of course, my parents would come home and I freak out. I'm like, they didn't know what was going on. He told me not to say anything. So this resulted in me sleeping with a baseball bat. wiling out of school, throwing chairs, getting arrested, all types of stuff. And it was, I knew the what, but I didn't know the why behind it. And so when I traced the why, that's when the weight started falling off. And so I tried to tell them, if you don't deal with your why, if you don't identify that, you know, it's weird how our minds are programmed. Things happen to us, and we can do things because of the situations that happen to us. If we don't realize that, our mind can have us doing things that we didn't know we should be doing.
Exactly. And not understanding the why.
I think this is the second school I've seen David do. And what I like about how they've structured it is that today was how many speakers? 4. I didn't expect to speak, but he threw me up there, and God showed up. So I'll tell you,
girl, you know how
but
to do
the interesting thing was, as one of the teachers said there, he had 4 people went up, and the students were able to see themselves in someone that got up front. So just in case they didn't resonate with David, which is totally impossible, they got a chance to see themselves in the other gentleman who was also an actor and an entrepreneur. They got a chance to see themselves in me. So it was like, I thought it was just great, not just having one speaker.
Was he up on the stage
absolutely.
as well?
He was on the stage as well. I think, what is the guy's name? I did a comedy with him.
Jordan
went up first, and Jordan's phenomenal. Jordan's really awesome. His story is unique in his own right, and he's kind of different. I'm sure they saw themselves in him. He's very relatable. And then Ray went up, then myself, and then David closed it out. I think we made a great team. I really think we should take this thing on the road.
Take it on the road.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, because I guess maybe like people are familiar with my work and stuff like that. A lot of people ask me to come, to their schools, but whoever's with me is going to speak. Period. We had maybe 5. We had a bunch of speakers yesterday. Yeah. And I just make sure everybody gets their time to. One, I think it's 2 parts. The kids need to be able to hear somebody else's story, so they can find, who to identify with. But even the speakers, I think it's just valuable for us to be able to go share our story and inspire somebody else, because I know when I inspire kids, it inspires me too. So I make sure Dawn's like, I'm not ready. I said, girl, take this mic. And anybody, just be warned, if you come to me with a school, you're going to speak.
Right. I wasn't not ready in the sense of not having any information.
She told me verbatim, I'm not ready.
I wasn't really expecting this. I have on sweats with a jacket,
And went up there and killed it.
Thank you.
She killed it.
But kids, they'll take you as you are. If you got something to share with them, they'll take you at just whatever you have. And because it's so interesting in our school systems today, especially our public school systems, there's such a disconnect from the teachers, and I know Tanya knows this, from the teachers and the kids. When I've done some teaching at schools, just the fact that they can't be touched. And sometimes that's all it requires, just a hand on them to help them understand that, somebody else cares about me, because we don't know what's happening at the house. All kinds of stuff is going on over there. So when they come to you, you have to kind of get to their level so that you can connect with them.
And to watch the kids pay more and more attention as the speakers, as each preacher, spoke, and then David had them taking notes, and they were asking questions. And when you can actually capture the attention of kids, you can speak.
Oh yeah. And all you have to do, I remember Armin, the guy that does the digital marketing for me. Armin has never spoken to children at all, on no age, and so this summer I had him get up to teach with the kids, and he's like, "Crystal, I'm nervous," and I could tell he was nervous. But the one thing that he does is he studies everything that has anything to do with digital marketing. So he knows everyone on YouTube that's doing anything crazy. When he started dropping names, he had the kids, they were like, oh my God. And then they started asking questions, and it was just like he didn't even leave. He left at 5 o'clock. He came at 1.
Wow. So Crystal's Race Foundation is actually bringing David in to do this. So his foundation needs some help. We got to help him raise some money so we can keep this thing alive next year.
There's a number of groups out there that like I said, when I was telling to Tanya, when we went raising money for the entrepreneurial program, we had no money for it. We just we knew what we were doing, and so we raised the $85,000 for the 2-day camp. And our camp, actually, when you break it on down, it's like $1,500 per kid, and these kids come for free. And then we pay them a stipend of $250 for being there. And then they compete, and then there's a $750, $500, and $300 prize for having doing the best pitch for their business and the best business idea. And we did that for 50 kids this year. And so it's pretty awesome. So there's some folks out there that it's just how you put the proposals together right now. You know, that's it. If we're changing people's lives, you know, any of the banks, if you're a nonprofit, any of the banks, Union Bank is big. CIT, Bank of America, not so much, but Chase, I think they have some programs. Target definitely has programs, and if there's, and then a lot of the sporting organizations do too.
Now, you guys probably don't know about my program. I have a program called Small Biz Pro. There are grants on that program as well. So if you go to smallbizpro.net, you register, and then when you get to the dashboard on the left-hand side, you have 3 services. You got procurement, you've got business management, and market research. On the procurement is where you'll find those grants. So I just want you guys to know, and I'm going to extend the same courtesy like I extended to Tanya, to you guys. I got 4 funders that, I don't have them, but I have a list with those 4 funders that they're always helping. So I'll send you guys that information so you can check them out, because I think you guys have amazing programs that can benefit from sponsorship from that. I also have this big old thick book with grants in it. When I used to go to school, you know, college, you can get grants out of that for going to school. So I'll share that with you guys also and see if it could help your program.
Absolutely. You want to tell me a little bit about the program and what we do?
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the program.
So we come in and everybody pretty much tells our story for the first couple of months. So we have people coming in and giving them options. So like, okay, so if you don't want to be, an entrepreneur, what else can you do? Yeah. So we got the Army side, we got people who work for production companies, we got all type of people come and share their story, share their background, to let them know they can succeed, right? Because a lot of times, kids, that are having hard times, who do they look up to? Yeah. The guy in the corner, the guy with the money, the guy with the car, the guy with the hot chick that leaves when he's broke, right? Yeah. That's what they see.
Yeah.
So we start there, and then David comes in on the entrepreneur side and really kind of hits him hard. How to develop your business. Like this guy right here, he came in today and put on a PowerPoint presentation without a PowerPoint.
Oh, wow. Today. How does that work?
Just off the cuff. I mean, it was legit. Like this dude's the guru right here of entrepreneurship. And
I'm going to have to adopt that strategy.
PowerPoint with no PowerPoint.
You had to be there.
And so the goal is we break the kids up in group.
Yeah.
What's near to your heart, right? Yeah. So, like, my mentee, he's like, I want to survive despite what people think of me.
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, what can this be? So we came up with different phrases. Then he was like, look at me now. So we're going to put that on a wristband, tailor a story around that wristband, and try to flip that $100 into $10,000.
Oh, wow. That's
over
cool.
time. Yeah.
That is great.
His mentee has it easy because his mentee has a guru. So I looked over to him and I said, listen, this man right here is the GOAT. Get as much information as you can from him because this is just the beginning.
Right. That's great, man.
So the whole basis of the program is all these kids have an idea and they put the idea on wristbands, right? And they have a product that they can sell. It's a low ticket item for us to get it.
Yeah.
We brought in a bunch of mentors, so each kid or group is paired with a mentor, and we invest $100, and we wound up getting like 350 wristbands or something like that they'll sell for $2. So the first $100 they pay back to their mentor, and now they're in business, and we help them, market it, and really build a business. Because what I found out is there's 2 options in a kid's life, right? The wrong way and the right way. So they're in the street, and the main drug dealer or gang member is saying, listen, come with me. You see that car? You can have that. You see that girl? You can have that, right? You can live this life.
Yeah.
But then they come to school and the teacher says, don't do that.
Yeah.
And the kid's thinking, why? And the answer is, so you can go to college. You could be like me. I went to college.
Yeah.
And the kid is like,
I want to do that.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like you. I want that car.
That guy did it in like 12 months.
Right. Yeah. So we're giving them a vision, saying, you can take this message and this wristband and look what it can turn into.
Yeah.
And you can get that thing that you want, just doing it the right way.
I like that.
So we have to offer what they want, not just what we want them to do.
Yeah.
It's unfair for us to say, no, don't do the wrong thing. Well, what's the benefit of doing the right thing? And do I want the benefit you're trying to sell me?
So it's good to find out what they like.
And if you're going to, so I had a kid tell me one time, Miss Crystal, I want to be a drug dealer. Because that's, we're talking entrepreneurship. What do you want to do? I want to be a drug dealer. I said, all right. So here's, I'm big on research. So this is what you need to do. You need to come back to me with your research done on any drug dealer that hasn't been shot, haven't been stabbed, haven't been jumped, don't have his house surrounded by bodyguards, not living behind a barricade, not having been to jail for anything. And so he came back the next week. I said, you got my report? He goes, no. Okay, I need my report next week. He came back. He goes, well, why you had to throw jail in there and get shot and got stabbed? That makes it more difficult. Go get my report and come back. So the next week he goes, Miss Crystal, I think I'm gonna open up a T-shirt business. Good idea. Because you gotta get to their level. You gotta help them rational it out. Yeah. Critical thinking, as Tanya said. Yeah. Let's look at the options, because those are not the options of an entrepreneur. Yeah, we do some calculated risk, but it is not about going to jail.
Yeah, exactly.
And we don't have to run and hide from anybody. So you're absolutely right. You have to give them options, and viable options that make sense to them.
Absolutely.
And it's very important.
We're almost at the top of the hour, and I still want to know a little bit about your phrase here, sleep is for suckers. I want you to tell me about that, because I don't get any sleep right now.
Oh, there you go.
I want to know, am I a sucker or what's the deal here? So tell me about that.
Absolutely. I always had a job and I always had a dream at the same time. But all of my jobs were mostly like restaurants. In restaurants, if you know, there's always long hours. You got to work doubles, things of that nature, right? So after I get off work, I got an option. I can work on my dream or I can go to sleep. Yeah. And I just chose to work on my dream. So I just kind of adopted the whole sleep is for suckers. Like, yo, I can sleep later, okay? I really, really have a dream. So now, so the first, I quit my job after 2.5 years of building the business, but the message kind of turned from actual physical sleep, which I got very little, to watching TV all day. We consider that a form of sleep. Playing video games, we consider that sleep. You know, just doing like wasting time. Your eyes are open, but you sleep.
I like that phrase, the wasting time piece.
Absolutely.
And I teach this in my workshops all the time. You know, I'll try not to do things that I've done before, because to me that's wasted time. I'm wasting valuable time. Like, I don't watch a movie. Some people say, hey, that's crazy. I don't watch a movie that I already watched, because to me that's an hour I just wasted. I could be spending that making some money or creating some ideas or mentoring somebody. You see what I mean? So I never repeat stuff. Never. Because, in your vein, sleeper for sucker is like sleeping. Those extra hours, that's like sleeping.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't do repeat stuff.
I've been on last thing. The one thing I've been watching like bank robbery movies.
Yeah,
like because of the planning, the attention to detail. Yeah. Like, there's so many things that go into robbing a bank. Like the strategy of it, right?
Right.
But we don't spend half that time on our business,
or
half that time thinking of it. If you're going to rob a bank, we got to make sure all of our T's are crossed, I's are dotted. Yeah. We got to do the research before we launch. But for us, we'll just say, oh, we're just going to start a business, and just if it don't work, it don't work. Yeah. Well, when you rob a bank, it has to work.
Yeah, it has to work, and the alternative is bad, right?
That's an amazing concept. Yeah. Maybe you could liken a program, liken the bank robbery to running a business.
Absolutely.
They start a business, didn't think about it, they die. Well, not physically.
But I do teach people you need to have some consequences. Yeah, somebody need to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
If you say you're going to sell 100 books this month,
and you didn't,
there need to be some consequences.
Yes.
Set it up with your friend. Like, yo, we're going to put $1,000 on it. If you're sure, let's put $1,000 on it.
That's right.
Okay, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, let's put the money in the account. You lose your money.
That's right.
You'll go a little harder.
Oh, yeah. I'll think about it some more.
Exactly. Yeah, and the consequences, and it's interesting you said that, because there was a friend of mine that had said that, those individuals that were in the drug business, right? So when you think about it, if you guys ever saw, what was that show was on, that was one of the best shows on it was out of Baltimore.
The Wire.
The Wire.
Yeah.
So all the work that went into managing and distribution and the whole bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a full-on corporation,
Yeah.
and that they had to run and manage all these people.
Yeah.
So this doctor out of Rikers, she said that's what she would go in, is teach them and expose them to network marketing that didn't have anything to do with money.
Yeah.
Right. And they were excellent at it because, and I have a mentee that he was a mixologist. So when he came out with his business plan, his money that they give him, whatever that $250, and he took that and created a business. And today he is doing well. He used his same skill sets as a chemist into creating his own natural shea butter, and he just doing off the chain stuff. So that's the things we just need to talk to our children about.
Man, this show is so phenomenal.
So we are at the top, and it's time to go. And
it's unbelievable. We could do this again. We'd like to have you guys back so we can definitely talk to you guys about some more. We didn't even get to delve into this book, but we should certainly invite you guys back.
Absolutely.
We'd love to do that.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you guys next week. We got the Bella Network Conference next week from November 2nd to the 4th. 2nd to the 4th, right? Yes. And that's so you guys can go on our website and the Bella Network website to find out more details about that. There's a commercial that will run at the end of the show that's got the details for that. You can reach out to the Bella Network. You got a class on the 30th.
Yeah, I've got a capability statement development and contract readiness class with GLAC on Tuesday, the 30th, from 9 to 11. And just give me a call. I'll give you guys details on it. 626-533-1186. 626-533-1186. I can give you some information. And right.
And I have a digital marketing class every Wednesday night from 5:30 to 7:30 at the Los Angeles Urban League, 4401 Crenshaw Boulevard. It's free. Come out and learn how to create multiple streams of income from using your website and your blog.
David, how can they sign up for your coaching?
Oh, Sleepless Nights with a K. Sleepless Nights Coaching, KNIGHTS, coaching.com.
And Ray, how can we reach you?
Instagram at Big Ray Kef. My email is Ray, R-A-Y, at jkfresh.com.
Do you have any events coming up?
Not right. Just another program at Kane Air Center on November 5th and 6th.
Don,
and if you want to pour into what Ray's doing so we can keep this thing moving and get him into some other schools, give him a call. He needs your support.
Sounds good.
Oh.
Don?
You can reach me
The Blend.
on The Blend. You can follow us on The Blend. The Blend every Wednesday at 7 in the evening or 4 o'clock, depending on where you are. Or you can follow me at Dawn Strozier, STROZIER.
All righty.
Or if you're single and available.
No, I don't need a husband. I'm just having fun.
So we will see you guys next week. This is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert.
And Dawn.
And we are out.
We're out.
Have a great weekend.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.